Welcome to LMP Talks Wrestling. It's Tuesday, February 18th of the recording, and Raw finished last night once again. NXT smashed it on Sunday with a takeover that may be one of the best yet. With all the exciting wrestling going on, I'm happy to bring on a returning guest. She appeared on episode 23 on my SoundCloud for those listening on YouTube, and I cannot wait to chat with her again. So without further ado, please help me welcome Chani. How's it going today?
It's going really great. How are you?
I'm doing well today. How have you been liking the wrestling product since we last chatted?
Oh, well, I've had to be a little bit behind. I had a lot of health issues go on, but I have finally caught up. After Royal Rumble, I lagged behind again, so I had to catch up again.
Well, wrestling has certainly changed a lot, I guess, since we last chatted in October. We've had, a lot of changes on Raw. AEW is now coming into Revolution in a couple of weeks. Goldberg is in the picture against the the Universal Championship or whatever. Tell me,
what is going on?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. MVP's back in Raw. So
I know.
I mean,
MVP John Morrison's back. What year are we in?
I know. What year? 2020. I know, it's crazy. What highlights do you have since October?
My biggest highlight is I'm gonna have to say hands down with Edge returning. I about almost fell out of my chair. I was watching it, just like, oh my God, really?
It was an awesome moment. I was so happy.
It was such a great moment. All those fans, just the looks on their faces was just like soaking it in because we don't know when this is going to end.
Oh, I do. The most beautiful thing about that return was, I think, Edge's expression.
Yeah. Like, I'm back. Hello.
Yeah. He came out and he looked like he was about to bawl, but no wonder, because I mean, everything that man's gone through. But he came out and he was like, "Is this real?" Like, you could see the look on his face, and it was amazing.
It was amazing. I loved it. I'm so tired. Can we please stop it with the Corbin Roman?
Apologies about that. Before we got cut off there, we were having some technical difficulties with the microphone, but before we left off, I think you were talking about you were being very tired of Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin.
I'm so tired of this feud. This feud's been going on for forever. It feels like it's gone on for 9,262 days, as Simon Miller would like to quote anything.
Yeah, it certainly has felt that way.
Oh my God. I was just like, we're not done with this yet? Okay.
I want to safely say that after Super Showdown next Thursday, that this feud will be over.
Thank God, because I'm so tired of it.
If I'm wrong, I have given everything I've given to the feud. I can't give any more.
I can't give any more. I fell asleep watching it at the pre-show. That's how bad it bored me to death. I was like, this again? Actually, literally get put to sleep by a match? That's pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, no joke.
I'm like, can we just move on? I'm just really tired of this, and I'm tired of King Corbin this and King Corbin that. And
well, how about this? Instead of boring old Baron Corbin, we'll kind of jump back to what we were just briefly talking about before we jumped into it, and that was Edge and the whole return and his feud with Randy Orton and what happened with Matt Hardy, especially last night. I know you didn't see Raw last night, but I'm really surprised of how they've done it both times now with Matt Hardy, and I was actually really excited to see that no-holds-barred match last night.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it on Twitter. And I was like, oh, that will be very interesting. Because I just felt like, the last week's Raw with Randy and Matt, and him just, coming out and speaking the truth. And he's just like, okay. Randy's just mad because he got eliminated by his bestie. That's why. He is mad because Edge, in all his Corey freaking outsmarted him, and he doesn't like it.
With the Randy Orton feud with Edge, I mean, I'm quite excited with Edge and Orton facing each other at WrestleMania, and it's amazing that they were able to dig this feud up because Randy Orton and Edge had such a the rated RKO thing, so it's pretty cool that they went back there and were able to do this, especially given Edge's prior condition. What I'm interested in though is happening with Matt Hardy.
I don't know what's going on with Matt Hardy. I love watching like his stuff on Instagram. It's really hilarious and I love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Because, he's just crazy. But that's always how he's been. It's like, I don't know what they're doing with him. I don't know if they are just gonna let them term it out and then he can go somewhere else. I don't really know, or if he's just going to retire. I honestly feel like he should retire with the whole infusion in his back and his hips, and I know he's had a lot of issues with that, and I know he lost a lot of weight, and I mean, I think that's a great thing.
According to Matt Hardy, there's not really much reason to worry with him, though, because he apparently is now in the best shape of his life. So he's okay.
He's good. He's good now.
But he might. There's talks about Matt Hardy going to AEW and being the leader of the Dark Order.
That's what I've heard, and it wouldn't surprise me that he would be the exalted one.
It fits him perfectly.
It does. It really does. They're kind of crazy. He's kind of crazy. Yeah, it'll work. Except for him recruiting Simon Miller. Did you see?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Imagine Simon Miller as the exalted one, fooling us the entire time.
He'd be giving out Ys and spears to everybody.
That'd be hilarious. Can you imagine the reaction? Some people listening to this podcast know who Simon Miller is, but that's funny. Go watch the guy on Up and Downs for Raw and NXT and whatever. So, I mean, speaking of AEW, though, too, how much have you watched of that?
I have pretty much caught up, so I'm ready for tomorrow night.
Are you watching Dark tonight?
I'm ready for... I don't know if I'm watching Dark. I may watch Dark tonight. I haven't done a Dark episode, so...
I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I really think, I love this thing with the Elite and Hangman Page, and he's just so surly.
The heel turn with Adam Page has been beautiful. I'm really looking forward to it. Do you watch Being the Elite?
I look forward to it. No, but I should. I know it's hilarious. I've heard
it is quite funny.
I love Kenny, so he's like my fave. So even though I grew up as a Jericho girl,
I was surprised that Kenny Omega is only 36 years old.
That really surprises me. He's younger than me. That's so sad.
Oh my God. I didn't mean it that way.
Well, I know, but I'm meaning it. Ooh.
Kenny Omega is 36 years old, and he's pretty much done everything he possibly could in Japan, and now he's doing it in AEW. I mean, hopefully, he's got at least another 10 years in him.
I know. One day he'll go to WWE, and then everybody at the Royal Rumble, and everybody will be surprised and shocked. Probably not, but, we can always hold our breath. I was very surprised of not many surprise entrants this year.
The original plan with NXT in the Royal Rumble was we were told it was going to be 10-10-10. 10 Raw, 10 SmackDown, 10 NXT, which is cool, which is fair. But then if you do it that way, you take away from any surprises. And then this year we had, I think, 3 spots for potential surprises. So
MVP and Edge and who else was the other surprise? Who was the other surprise? Yeah, I think it was Keith Lee.
I think Keith Lee was the surprise, yeah.
I thought
Keith Lee, Edge, Yeah, in MVP.
It wasn't that big of like surprises, and I mean, Edge was a big surprise. That was a big pop. MVP, I was like, oh, okay, but they didn't have a lot of mid-carders. They didn't have a lot of crazy stunts with Kofi. Same with Naomi. And they had more surprise entrants in the women's more so than the men.
Both Rumbles were fantastic. That's something that we can both agree on. But the interesting thing is Charlotte won it. So now she's facing Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. How do you feel about Rhea and Charlotte?
I think her and Rhea are going to light it up. They're both very strong, athletic opponents. They're going to push each other, and that's what's going to happen. I think if it's not going to be a main card event, at least it should be in the middle of the card or near the top. I know that it's probably going to be Shayna versus Becky for the Raw women.
I don't think it'll be the main event, but it'll be up there. I don't think they're going to have the women do the main event again this year.
This year. Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably going to be the Brock McIntyre match.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that or the Universal, because the WWE still says that, the Universal is, I think, better or it gets slightly higher than the WWE Championship. I don't. Yeah. That's why they gave it to Fox, right? So.
Yeah. Right.
I think I'm not really sure, but I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's Brock Lesnar who. I mean, Brock Lesnar could come out with that to start WrestleMania again and get it over with. So.
Yeah, like he did last year. Yeah, I mean, McIntyre's going to be a great opponent. It's going to be a very good match.
So speaking of Mania and Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, we have Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. What do you want to see come from the tag division at Mania this year?
Ooh, not like what we had last year, the Fatal 4-Way. Let's not do another Fatal 4-Way for forever. Okay, let's Elimination Chamber would be a really good thing to have a number one contender match.
You're right.
For the tag team division to face Asuka and them at WrestleMania, unless the title changes during that time. You never know.
The Elimination Chamber is a great place, though, to have a number one contender spot. Like, what three would you put 3 teams in there? As in, like, because it holds 6, right? So would you have 3 times 2?
Yeah, I would think, one from SmackDown, one from NXT, and one from Raw.
I like it.
Go head to head. See who's the brand superior in this. Make it like how they do the Dusty Cup, the Broserweights, put 2 unlikely people in a tag team at NXT.
For fun, I was just kind of thinking of the Usos versus the OC versus the Undisputed Era in Elimination Chamber.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. Oh, God, that would be so crazy.
That would be insane. And that would really, so like, insane. Having those 3 teams, you couldn't go wrong.
No, you couldn't. It's the same with, like, okay, so, like, if you get Fire and Desire.
Yep.
Get from Raw. Who would be Raw?
Let's say Kabuki Warriors. Since they're the champions. Let's throw the Iconics. They're the champions.
Yeah, let's throw the Iconics in there. Yeah, that sounds good. Iconics, and from NXT, Candice LeRae and Tegan Nox.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Just something like that. Something more casual, like okay, maybe like Bianca Belair and like somebody,
I like that idea. Who.
Yeah. Io Shirai, her and Io Shirai. That would be kind of good. Bianca and Io,
That's actually, this is perfect, a perfect scenario for the women's titles because, as you know, I mean, they haven't yet, but the women's titles can be defended on NXT from what we've been told. Mm-hmm. So having an Elimination Chamber match with that showcases all 3 brands, that would
exactly.
You're right. That would be one hell of a way to showcase those titles.
Showcase the titles and show who is the dominant brand other than Survivor Series.
I would even, you know what? I would actually have the women's tag team, the belts. I would have them defended at NXT Takeover Tampa. That way, they're finally being defended at NXT. They wouldn't be, shallowed by WrestleMania. They wouldn't be kicked out of the way. They wouldn't be like on the pre-show or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They would be on NXT Tampa. They would finally be defended. It would be a first time ever, and it would give NXT a reason to come to Elimination Chamber. I like it, Chani. You got me all excited.
I'm the master of learning these things. Because they are supposed to be defended in NXT. No one has gone up for them yet. And that makes me question it. And I think they got to put together some female tag teams in that division to make it look a little bit stronger. We have all these great female talents right now. Oh my gosh. We have so many. It's just saturating down there. That's why they're having to have Shayna kind of sort of come up. I mean, she's still down in NXT, but she's been on Raw attacking Becky, you know. And so
I'm pretty sure she's on Raw now for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking too, is she's trying to go after Becky after the title that her friend lost. That's how I am spinning it. She lost her championship to Rhea, and that put her to think about what title should she go after. And she feels like she's going after Becky. Becky's had that target on her back. That's why she didn't do so much damage to her at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
She knew she was going to do it later, I think. I think that's how they were going to spin this.
Lots of people have continually compliment WWE and NXT because they've come so far with their women's division, as you and I have actually talked about before in a previous podcast. But it's amazing now, and just like you said, that it's kind of saturated down there. There's too many. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, kind of thing. Where there's all of these amazing women, and they're all talented. They're just they get lost in the shuffle, kind of like what happens with the main roster. A lot of the main roster get lost in the shuffle, and at times I can't even imagine how difficult it is to be able to book a show, make sure these people are used, make sure these people are doing their promos, betting on this person, and it's a lot of work. And taking all of that into account and how amazing the women's division is on NXT and /WWE, what would you improve in the AEW's women division? Because right now, Nyla Rose just won the title, so that's going to change a lot of things. But what do you want out of the women's division over there?
I think they need to get more females. They need to get more females. Because it's basically like, I know Dark does a female match.
Yeah.
And then it's usually then whoever, Chris Statlander's really good. I would like to see her and Nyla Rose go at it for the title, because they're both very powerful, very strong women. I know AEW's gotten a lot of backlash for giving a trans woman a title. It doesn't matter who she is as a person.
I'm just going to say piss on those people. Piss on those people.
Because they're nothing but a bunch of just old backwards wrestling guys. And hearing people say, that person made me come out as who I am, that speaks more volumes than anything else.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, honestly, it's a good thing. We have to progress in life. And progression is just that. I think they need to get, some more pull from Japan a little bit, but I know Japan's also holding on to their wrestlers just as much as WWE is, because of Kyrie and Io. And I just don't know. I know New Japan America, I actually missed it. I was so bummed. I missed it. It was on a weekend. I had to go see my husband, but it was here in Nashville, and I really wanted to go. And so I missed it,
I'm
sadly.
sorry to hear that you missed it.
I know. I really wanted to go because Tanahashi was there.
Oh,
and
wow.
I wanted to, and Kota Ibushi. So I was like, oh, I gotta go to this.
See, from my point of view, I think they have all the women they need. I think it's a matter of using them and getting some stories behind them and getting the crowd behind them. Because personally, I think Awesome Kong just got an injury, but there's B Priestley, there's there's Britt Baker. Britt Baker's heel turn is starting. That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
I'm actually starting to kind of learn about this this Britt Baker character, but Hikaru Shida's another one that's really good. Leva Bates, there's something there with that librarian, as annoying as it freaking is.
I know.
This whole librarian thing has a place. And then Nyla Rose has a thing. Riho has been good. Sadie Gibbs. There's Yuka Sakazaki. So, I mean, there's a lot of women there in a very short time that they could really build around.
Well, that's very true. And I mean, I liked it. Now the one thing that drove me crazy here in the States was we didn't get to hear what Kenny said to Nyla. And we didn't get to hear what he said to the rest of the females that were standing there.
No, I guess we didn't. No. Yeah.
It went to commercial and it was just a little picture-in-picture.
The people who get to hear that stuff are the BT streaming.
Yeah.
The BT streaming, it doesn't go to commercial. You watch AEW for the full 2 hours. But everybody in America gets the small thing down in the corner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you still get to see the show, but there's still a commercial there. So it's better than nothing. But
it's better than nothing, but no sound.
When you see that little corner screen and you have like Sammy Guevara, for example, putting signs there, or Darby Allin, getting the audience to read them because they know it's on commercial. So it's kind of, it's better than I've noticed WWE's been doing that now too. With having the little TV screen in the corner.
Yeah, especially during NXT, and it drives me nuts.
Happens on Raw and SmackDown as well.
Haven't seen it much on Raw, but I also get mine recorded DVR, so I can fast forward the
commercials. That's fair.
I have to look at the little box and be like, what are they doing? What? This is a one. Oh my gosh. I love the Britt Baker thing, and I love, what, I think with Awesome Kong, even though she has the injury right now, they're probably building it up for her versus Nyla for the championship at Double or Nothing.
It very well could be, but I mean, we have to go through Revolution first.
I know, and that card, oh boy. Lots of inner circle happenings going on there. I see Sammy and Darby.
Which will be great. Sammy versus Darby Allin would be fantastic.
It's going to be very fantastic. I'm a big Darby Allin fan. I don't know why. I think cool and kind of spooky, and I don't know.
He is. He's really won the crowd over, which is awesome.
I know. Everybody loves him. It's so great. Little kids like him. I'm like, oh, now that's awesome. I do love Jungle Boy. Because I was a big fan of his father back in the heyday, back in the 90s. Ooh, I was 90210. Oh yeah. Is he gonna choose this one or this one?
It is amazing that Jurassic Express has become so popular in just not even AEW, but just in the wrestling scene. That
I know.
It just works, right? It just works.
It works. My husband loves Jurassic Express. I love Jungle Boy. He is very, very talented.
He is, yeah.
He is. And I think it's so endearing of his character because his dad encouraged him and went and saw him perform. And I think that's very special. when you have that bond, that love of wrestling.
Absolutely.
You know, it's also crazy to think where I live, I'm not that far from where his estate is in Tennessee, where he's buried. Yeah. He's not that far from me. Yeah. So, you know, he's just down the road somewhere. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but yeah.
You know one person on AEW who absolutely kills me every single time?
Jake Hager.
Nope, it is freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy. Oh my gosh.
That man.
Did you see him and the Young Bucks and he did the little super kick?
Oh, I see. Everything about him. I watch it all. Even on Dark, it cracks. He's even on the Elite show on Mondays.
Oh, really? Is he? Oh my god!
He cracks me up. Like, the crap that comes from him. It's just how does that gimmick get over? Like, honest to God, how does that work?
I loved it when he poked his head through the orange. That was the best. I was like, oh, that was awesome. And then when he got the bandana from the Young Bucks.
I think one of my most funny segments with him was when they were in the back and they were brawling and they brawled into the bathroom and he was just there. And I was like, because that caught me off guard because you were right in a serious segment. Like, two people just wrestling. Chani, you can't even stay still. You can't even keep it together. You're contagious. You're making me laugh.
Oh,
but I mean, it's so intensely. Like, it was so intense. And then all of a sudden the bathroom door opened and you just see him standing there and the comedy, like, it just breaks it. Like, it just breaks that intensity and it's just perfect. It works.
It's just perfect. It works. So I know it's so crazy, but yes, I know. At first he had a picture of himself within a picture within a picture within a picture.
Yeah.
Him just holding a photograph. It was just great of him. My husband's like, I gotta get that shirt.
Yeah, his t-shirt's pretty cool. It's pretty. Oh man.
Now, funny thing is, Chucky Taylor bills himself from Murray, Kentucky, which is actually an hour from me.
Oh yeah? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. When I said that, I was like, what? Wait, he's from where? They said that one night and I went, huh? Hold on. Wikipedia. Yeah, well, Ricochet's from Paducah and that's not far from me either. And I know people that know him that were like, yeah, we knew him when he was little.
That's pretty cool.
Before he became big.
Coming up in the next, couple of days, and then we have next week as well. I'm curious of your opinion on a couple of things.
Okay.
The first thing is tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite, we are going to be having AEW's first ever steel cage match. So my question is, how different will this steel cage look compared to WWE, do you think? And are you looking forward to it?
I am actually looking forward to a steel cage. I would have thought like a year ago after all the steel cage and triple threat matches that I was so sick of doing that I wouldn't like it anymore. But when I saw it, I went, you know what? I wonder if that's good. I was just like, you know what? I bet you it's going to be very good. I was like, I don't know how they're going to do their cage though, but we'll see how this turns out. But I think Cody's going to win it, and that's going to infuriate MJF.
Yeah, I think Cody's going to win too. And to be honest, when I first heard the steel cage match, I was still in my WWE brain. I normally don't get crazy excited for steel cage matches anymore. It just I've seen them so many times. But then I forgot that one, this is going to be putting on by AEW, so it's going to be booked different. Two, it's going to look differently. And three, it's their first time ever doing it. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a little excited. Plus, this is on TV, just a pay-per-view match. So I do agree that Cody will probably win. because he has to keep pissing MJ off. He took the whippings from Cody. How was that for you, by the way?
Oh
I'm
my
curious.
God, that was wow. I wasn't surprised that they didn't show it, but just Cody's expressions.
It was intense, wasn't it?
It was intense. Oh my gosh. His brother, Arn Anderson, was out there. Brandy was out there. It was just really crazy.
Yeah, it was. I was talking about this with Queen from DYWTSB, their podcast last time, and she was telling me that she doesn't want to see it again, and that it was kind of overly booked, and I kind of agree with that to a sense, but
yeah,
they really made me believe though, like they made me feel all set up, and we all know this as wrestling fans, everything's set up ahead of time, whatever, we've been at that conversation a million times over, but they really made me feel like when I first heard that Cody's taking 10 lashes at some point in the future, I was like, okay, he's gonna get whipped. I've kind of seen people being whipped on wrestling before. How are they gonna do
this differently? Yeah.
But they really did it, like with Dustin and Brandy coming out and the Young Bucks and making it like you got this, Cody, or Dustin's like, give the rest of the lashes to me. So it made it really like dramatic and made you feel.
Mm-hmm. It did. It really made me feel. And I think that's why AEOver's getting over so more than WWE right now. Because, Raw's doing a lot better with their storytelling because they have 3 hours to storytell. And for a very long time before the draft, it was very stale. We all agreed it was very stale.
Yep.
It was not very, it was up and down and, oh, they're doing this again and this again. And, oh, my God, this again and this again. And so it's interesting week after week after week. It's different. It's like, the whole thing when Ruby Riott came back, which I am so happy she is back. Thank God. Push her to the moon, please.
I agree.
I think she's going to have a little feud with Liv, and then it's going to be a squash match, and then it's going to be done. I think it's just going to be like that. It's just, but I think she deserves an opportunity. She well deserves an opportunity. I think a lot of the women on the roster deserve a lot of opportunity. And, if it is Shayna, it's going to be very interesting.
It's an interesting direction where we're going to see Shayna and Becky and all that post-Mania.
Mm-hmm. Same with Charlotte and Rhea. If Charlotte gets it.
The only reason, I only want Charlotte to win the NXT championship if it takes her down to NXT and keeps her there for a while. Because I don't want Charlotte, and at the same time, I don't want Charlotte to hold on to the belt for a long time either. Because
exactly, we've had Shayna twice.
That's elevating. Yeah, that. If Charlotte gets the NXT title again and keeps it for a long time, that's not elevating anybody in NXT.
It's
However,
the same with Becky. Becky's had it for over almost a year now.
Oh, right. But at least that's Becky on the main roster, though. Charlotte going down to NXT or going down or whatever, however you want to call it, going over to NXT and
going over,
yeah, going over. It's just, if she keeps it for long term, I feel it's going to really put NXT down. So if she does win it, have her win it, but then have her lose it like maybe 1 or 2 months later, because it's not going to be a big thing. It's Charlotte. She can recover from pretty much anything at this point.
Looking also forward to like Money in the Bank, like the women's Money in the Bank, who and we don't know about Bayley, who she's gonna face, and if she's actually gonna lose her title at WrestleMania. She's held it for the longest, and she's the only Grand Slam champion. Now, the only person I would honestly say I would like for someone to go over to NXT, and this would cement their legacy, is Alexa, because she never won it there.
That's a good point. Yep, Alexa Bliss did not win the NXT title.
No, she never did. So she has won every other title in the WWE except for NXT. I feel like if they could hit the ground running with maybe her and Charlotte getting a feud, maybe bring her, back, and have her squash Charlotte, and she win it at like a takeover.
It very well could happen.
He's been getting kind of crazy lately with, Finn's back over. I like that Finn's back over. I like that he's redoing his character a little bit. I think it got kind of stale on the WWE Universe. I don't know about the Intercontinental Championship. That's going to be a very interesting. I love that Braun won it. I was happy. I was like, they're actually going to. I thought for sure they weren't going to let him get it.
Braun Strowman getting the Intercontinental title is pretty cool, and I do hope that they do something with it. But I do have to say that we have 5 minutes left of this podcast, okay, and I have one more question to ask you.
Sure.
But first of all, before I ask you this last question, thank you very much for coming on the podcast again.
You're welcome.
Do you have any social media you want to put out there?
Yes, I'm at the Rock Chick 79 on Instagram and the Rock Chick 79 on Twitter.
All right, perfect. So now the question that I need to ask you, because I'm not going to get a chance to ask you next week because we're not. Well, I can message you and I totally will. But to everybody out there, I want to know what you think of the Iron Man match, the 30-minute Iron Man match that's going to be on AEW next week between Kenny Omega and Pac. Because, and the reason I'm asking is because this is a TV match. This is something that you would see like on a pay-per-view somewhere, something special. This is Kenny Omega, Pac, Iron Man match. What do you think? Are you excited?
I am really excited because I like to see their take on the Iron Man match. I'd really like to see their take on that. I think it'll be different than what the WWE does. And I think, it will be very exciting. I don't really know who I would want to win in that. I think Kenny's got a lot of confidence right now. But if Pac won it, I think Kenny would lose that momentum again. I don't really know who I would want that to win, honestly. I think it's going to be very close, though. I am rooting for Kenny, though, because I'm a Kenny Omega girl. But I love Pac. I liked him when he was in WWE before they buried him. But he's a phenomenal wrestler. It's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. Because I know the last time they met was at All Out. And it, really bothered Kenny. And he was kind of like on a losing streak during that time. So, I'm interested in to see how they do it. How they Steel Cage, Iron Man, hey,
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to watch these two go because they are different genres, wrestling styles and stuff. Yeah, exactly. But the fact, again, like I mentioned earlier, is that it's a TV match, and I think that Kenny Omega will walk away unless they carry on. Like, we don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow night because he could lose the titles with Adam Page, or this feud could break up and he could.
Because Adam Page was actually going around on Being the Elite,
where Matt and Nick Jackson are weak, like in their bodies, so that other tag teams would purposely beat them up. So it's really interesting, all the things that you learn on Being the Elite. But who knows where that TV show is again. But thank you once again, Chani, for coming on the podcast.
And as always, thanks to everyone out there who continues to listen to the podcast. If you want to hear your voice on here, simply send me a PM on any of my social media. We will make a date. I would love to have you on. I would love to hear your opinions. You can find me at SoundCloud under Lotus Moon Productions, Facebook under Lotus Moon Productions, Twitter under Lotus Moon Prod. That's PROD. And you can now search us on YouTube under Lotus Moon Productions. If you guys can, please get me to 100 subscribers so that YouTube will allow me to have a custom URL. Because it's just that anal. Coming up in Lotus Moon Productions in the next couple of days, I have a prediction special coming up that will or not in the next couple of days, my apologies. Next week we have a Revolution prediction special coming up. I'm going to be getting out Super Showdown predictions next week, and I have a returning guest coming on next week. So if you guys are all interested in that, please tune in. With that, this has been LMP Wrestling, and we are now signing off.